She's got a mare who has been spayed. She has no medical issues and she does take a hormone supplement. But she is a mare who is constantly in heat, constantly showing all the symptoms. Since she's been spayed, the behaviour hasn't changed at all. And Brenda's noticed that a few people that have also had their mares spayed, and it often isn't a real fix. So she's wondering if you've sort of what you know, Mark, about mares and you know what triggers them to come onto heat. You know, is it quite normal that they come into heat a lot if they don't fall pregnant? You know, does it take a teasing mare or a stallion to do it, and is it unusual if it doesn't? She'd just like to know a little bit more about what you know.
I guess I can only draw on the advice or the stories I've heard from people over the years that I've been starting horses for, and sometimes getting horses and mares that seem very hormonal. Like I had one horse at a clinic and she was constantly lactating, and it was just her thing. And I've heard people have successful stories with, you know, sometimes horses have had twisted ovaries, sometimes you know, they've had them spayed and they've had hormone supplements, and their behaviour has improved a lot after that, and they've become a lot more settled and centered. Now there is like a subject that I talk about a little bit at clinics, and I'll probably link this into the same subject when it comes to these the horses that can become very difficult and seemingly hormonal. Is I think experience is part of a horse's, you know, becomes their mindset. So just like life experience becomes a horse's maturity. So some horses, oh, that horse is immature, but when you have a look at its you know, mindset and the way it's been brought up, it's bound to be immature. And I've heard that in, you know, sometimes, you know, Jenny spent time in Africa, and the maturity of the young kids over there at a younger age was much more mature than you'd see sort of now in a Western culture, where they're sort of a bit like hand you know, hand reared, and sort of, you know, there's too many not enough challenges out there for them, I'm guessing. So basically, when you come to, you know, the horse that before it was spayed might have been hormonal, might have been in a funny environment, might have had a mare that was a bit sort of a mother that was like that, or whatever environment was that it didn't know how to communicate, process, and then things started to work, and you know, it started to get angry, and then it started to carry tension, and then it's carrying tension because it doesn't make good decisions. But that becomes that horse, just like the horse that carries tension around people all the time, and everyone wonders why that horse is like that. It's like, well, they can let go of it, they just need to be shown an alternative. So I think there's horses that uh, that's the way they become, and they don't know how to let go of the tension, so they're just kind of like that all the time, always anxious, don't know how boundaries work with other horses. You know, they push too hard. Like I've seen horses that have never been properly uh, brought up in a herd, and then some trainers or owners have watched all these videos on how to chase a horse around a round yard and how to drive it backwards, forwards, and sideways. And then you see this horse go in its first herd, and it does exactly what the human did to it. It just runs at horses, driving them off, and really unpredictable. The horses don't like it. It's like an extra culty type horse, but it just never knew and never learnt in a big herd how to sort of probe its way in and become soft and make good decisions and have good alternatives. And I just think they get stuck in a neuro pathway as well. So I believe that once, you know, the vets and the medications, or the, you know, hormone supplements, all that sort of stuff is not working, then you've got to look back at mindset and how that horse's process information and things like that, and then we start to train in a way that says, before I do anything with you, I want to get one thing clear. I want you in a good, mature, centered mindset. Okay, if that means we stand here and you start to be, you know, make good, cautious decisions before I ask too much of you, then so be it. If I have to spend a week, a month doing that, teaching you how to think in a better way and process things in a better way. There's a horse in Queensland that I helped. I think I was the fourth trainer or something. I think it basically chased people out of round yards. If you went picking up manure in its paddock, it'd turn and just run at you, double barreling, like boom, 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 like a gunslinger sort of thing with its hind feet. And but it was seeming like a really quiet horse. And then when I heard the whole process, how it was, weaned and how it was kind of taught when it was little, and then I thought, well, no wonder this horse is like this. So it didn't know a right or wrong way to communicate. So it did something one day, it seemed to work. So then it just kept doing it, thinking, oh, that's what I do. And until we showed it an alternative and different things like that. And then, but just it never had that available when it was brought up. And there's so many kids in our society that, never had that kind of grounding that they, people might blame them for a lot of things, but they never had any boundaries or anything when they were young. So they just become a certain mindset. So I'm thinking that's really what's happening with these horses, and they're harder to get out of that, but we really have to try hard to do it.